Hi students, welcome. I hope you guys are all again staying healthy, doing everything you can to stay busy. We're certainly going to try to keep you guys on track here. I actually think this is a great opportunity for you guys to take advantage of the free time. Nobody has any after school activities. Nobody has any really even if you're going through virtual school right now, and I know a lot of you are not. This really gives you guys a great opportunity to continue to practice this stuff and continue to get better and better as you guys work through this SAT stuff. So I think it's a great opportunity for you guys, for those that are going to take advantage of this. I think it's great. And again, I'm going to try it, but we're going to try our best to keep you guys on track. It's really easy to get complacent when there's so much extra time. So much extra time with just, whether that be either virtual school or not having after school activities or not being able to hang out with friends. Really, you guys are kind of locked into a situation right now where you have to find time to do stuff. Why not do stuff that's productive? I talk about it a lot in our videos, how I was a terrible student when I was your age. I hope I want to convey everything that I had done wrong to hopefully give you guys an opportunity to not do those things. And give you guys an opportunity not to watch every episode of Netflix while you guys are off, and instead put it towards something that's productive. And I think that's hopefully what you guys are going to get out of these videos. We'll do the math videos tomorrow, but we're just trying to keep you guys on track. So if you guys can see a couple practice problems here and there, that's better than nothing. And again, there's really no reason not to be doing this, considering you still have so much extra time in the day from what you guys are used to in normal school. So if you guys are with me, for those that are online right now, can you guys just give me, if nothing else, can you guys give me a thumbs up in the comments section? Good to go. Again, we're going to be working through practice test number 10. Let's see, practice test 10. You guys can see it in the description. It's just the normal SAT practice test 10. I want to make it accessible to everybody that doesn't have access to all of the SAT resources. If you guys want to look on Reddit, Reddit's a great opportunity for those that haven't looked at Reddit before to get additional practice tests beyond just the ones that are available on College Board. But for the most part, I'm going to try to keep it towards College Board just so everybody has access to it. Again, though, for those that access it on Reddit, you guys can see a lot of extra practice tests. And we're going back and forth on whether or not we're going to do any of those extra ones. We probably will, but for right now, we're sticking with test number 10, which I believe is the April 2018 maybe, actually released SAT test. So this is a test that all students took within the last 2 years. The scale reflects that. And again, we're going to go through the no calculator section of the SAT test number 10. I don't know if we'll time it. I might set a timer just to give you guys a sense as to how quickly we need to be moving through it. But if we run out of time, I'm not really concerned. I want to show you guys some helpful techniques that you guys can use while you study. We have one question here. Albie, I do teach physics and math. We'll see if we get into a physics class yet. Unfortunately for physics students out there, there's not a ton of you. There's not a ton of students that are taking physics that need to take physics. It's not a required course for high school. And so that's generally why we don't focus on that too much. But yes, I do teach physics as well. Physics is some of the most interesting things you guys will go through. And it's unfortunate that more students aren't required to take it. But here in it's unfortunately not a required class. So we don't have that huge demand for those classes. But cool, guys. So is everybody ready to go? Anybody that's, again, if you guys have any questions, comments, please let me know. Feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I will set the timer. What is it, 25 minutes, I think? Yeah, 25 minutes for the no calc section. This is test number 10, and we'll work through it. I'll show you guys hopefully some helpful hints, and hopefully you guys take something out of this. So, everybody good? Okay, let me set the timer here. Test 10. Okay, 25 minutes is on the clock, and let's work through it. So, for those that, let me start it, sorry. We won't have the timer today, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay, so for those of you guys for those that have seen our videos in the past, one of the things I am adamant about on the SAT is that every math question is worth about 10 points. So you got to find the easy ones first. So 2z, this is kind of the definition of the easiest question you guys can probably find. Oops, you guys can see that you can waste a little bit of time here. 2z plus 1 is equal to z, which z satisfies, right? So I'm just going to do minus 2z. Could probably do it a different way. 1 is equal to negative z. Z is equal to negative 1. I think B is the right answer here. Hopefully I didn't make a simple mistake there. Looking at number 2. So guys, I'm going to skip number 2. And again, it's not to say that you can't do that problem. I'm going to skip number 3 as well. But this early in the test, especially when we keep talking about finding the easy questions first, it's not to say that those questions won't be easy, but those questions require more thought than certainly question 1 did, which is just like as straightforward as it comes. I'm going to skip 2 and 3. It's not to say that I'm not going to come back to those, but those questions are a little bit more difficult than, say, a question like 5, right, which is way more straightforward. So let's see if we can answer question number 5 first. So 5 says, if x is greater than 0, which of the following is equivalent? So there's a couple ways to solve this. If you guys see the word equivalent, you can always plug in a number for x. So you can just say x is equal to 3, and then plug it into this value. So you get 9 times, right, 9 square rooted. Okay, and that's equal to 81. Square root of that is 9. And then whatever answer choice is equal to that is going to show up down here. So it looks like 3x. 3 times 3 is also equal to 9. 9 times 3 is equal to 27. 18 times 3 is equal to 54. 3 cubed is 81 times 18 is 162. I'm not sure what that is. 162. Anyway, you guys get the picture. So the answer should be A here. The other way that you can solve for it is just using traditional math, 9x squared. This is the same thing as saying 9 times the square root of x squared, right? So that's 3 times x, so just 3x. Okay, so that's number 5, guys. Again, those are easier questions than, say, numbers 2 and 3, even if 2 and 3 you knew how to do. On this question, what are the values of x that satisfy the equation above? So we get x squared minus 1. This is very important that you guys recognize the difference of 2 squares. So we get x plus 1 times x minus 1. Okay, and then we get x minus 1. We should be able to cancel those. That's dealing with vertical asymptotes in continuity. X plus 1 is equal to negative 2. Minus 1 on both sides. X is equal to negative 3. Okay, so one of the things that you guys want to watch out for here is that if you plug in negative 1, let's see if negative 1 works here. So if you plug in negative 1, we get negative 1 quantity squared, right? Because we know negative 3 is an answer. If you guys plug in, if you guys plug in, negative 1 here, minus 1, we get 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. That doesn't equal negative 2. So the answer, I think, should be A here. But that's a really important question because that deals with extraneous solutions. So did anybody notice that was an extraneous solution? We knew one of these had to be the right answer. It couldn't be B or C because I think negative 3 proves that works. I hope anyway. Let's plug it in, right? We get 9 minus 1, negative 1, negative 3 minus 1. We get 8 over negative 4 is equal to negative 2. So that should work. And negative 1, if we go back and plug it in, negative 1 squared is 1, minus 1 is 0. So that shouldn't work. So watch out for extraneous solutions on the SAT. Again, find the easiest questions here, guys. This is a very straightforward question, right? It's shown on the plane. What is the value f of 0? If we know f of x, right, all we say is when it's f of 0, it's just where x is 0, what is y? When x is equal to 0, that's just notation, right? Y is equal to what? Okay, so let's see. When x is equal to 0, y is equal to positive 4. You guys can see this is the definition of what we call hard concept. Hard concept. Very easy question, I hope, right? I'm doing this live so that you guys can see that we're not editing those videos that we've done in the past with real time. I hope that's right. I hope I didn't make a simple mistake. And guys, now all of a sudden how many questions have we answered? 5, 2, 3. We answered 1 on the first page, I think. We've answered 4 questions, and we're still at 20 and a half minutes, and we've been talking out loud. Okay, if you guys notice I make a simple mistake here, please call me out. Give me a hard time about it. I hope I don't make one. But you guys are seeing that I'm finding all the easiest questions that I don't have to think about. Right away here, it says, what is the value of 3x? Watch out for that. They're obviously trying to give you they're trying to trick you here. Okay, so this whole thing is equal to a right angle because this is a line, and we have a right angle here. Okay, so we know that 5x is equal to 90. That means that x is equal to 18. So that means that 3x is equal to 54. That's just simple. That's just mental math, guys. If you got the better mental math you have, the better you're obviously going to do on the no calculator section. So 90 divided by 5 should be 18. 18 times 3 should be 54. Answer choice C. But again, when we know that this is a rules-based question, I talk a lot about that in other videos. This is a rules-based question. Okay, and when it's a rules-based question, I might have made a simple mistake on some of these. I could make a simple mistake on a lot of these. But when it's a rules-based question and you know what the rule is, the chances of making a simple mistake are very, very slim. Okay, let's look at number 9. If we look at question number 9 here, this is another rules-based question. Okay, so right here at this point, we're saying that this is negative 4 comma 0. And we're saying this point right here is 0, negative 4, meaning that those are both intercepts of the graph. Okay, so without having to rework the question, and of course we could, I've said this a lot in our other videos, right? Y equals mx plus b is one of the most important things you guys can remember for the no calculator section. Y equals mx plus b. If we say x minus 4 is equal to negative 4, right, all of these should satisfy these two equations because they're x-intercepts. So if we plug in 0, for example here, minus negative 4, right, is equal to negative 4. That's 0 plus 4 is not equal to negative 4. Okay, is 0 minus negative 4 equal to 4? Yes, that works. Let's see if the other ones, if we have any other ones. 0 plus negative 4 is equal to negative 4. Yeah, so both of these two work. Answer choice D does not work. So now we have to go back and let's plug in the x-intercept and see if that one works. So we get negative 4 minus 0, right? Negative 4 minus 0 is equal to 4. That doesn't work, so B is off. Negative 4 plus 0 is equal to negative 4, so the answer has to be C there. Okay, does that all make sense, guys? Okay, so again, we're at 17:45 right now. I think we got both of those two questions right, and those were starting to trend in towards the harder questions. Okay, now this one right here, again, this is number 10 is a rules-based question. If you guys are given the graph of a function, that's a rules-based question by default. The graph y equals, right, y equals this, is if the graph of the x-axis crosses at 0k, what is the value of k? Guys, look at this. So if you know how these functions work, this is rules-based, right? All we have to do is plug in 0 for x, and it should be pretty straightforward. K is effectively the y-intercept of this function. We get 2, right, times 0 squared. For those that don't know what we're doing here, you guys can just obviously see that k is going to be equal to 12, right? But we get y is equal to 12. So when x is equal to 0, right, when x is equal to 0 up here, what is y equal to? What's the y-intercept? K is just the y-intercept. The answer is D. Right? So if you guys just focus on these easier questions, if you just focus on the easy questions, rather the rules-based questions, and if you don't know these rules, just know that they are rules of math, right? These are rules-based questions. I haven't done a single word problem. I haven't done a single question that's going to throw me off. If I know how to do the rule, it's really straightforward. If I don't know how to do the rule, then it's not very straightforward, and I don't want to do the question. This one right here, guys, equation of a circle. Okay, in a circle, it has the center here and a radius of 2, which is the point. Guys, if you know the equation of a circle, this is a 2-second question. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. The radius is 2, so this is going to be equal to 4. Right away, we can eliminate c and we can eliminate d. Right, and now we have x minus 5 quantity squared plus y minus 7 quantity squared is equal to 4. Right, it's minus minus. If you have two positive centers, it's minus minus, so we know the answer has to be 11. Okay, we're still at 16 minutes right now, okay? 16 minutes. I know I'm pretty good with cosine, and for those that have watched our math videos, okay, in the past, I know math and physics stuff, so I feel pretty good about the cosine rules. This is a 5, 12, 13 right triangle. I highly encourage you guys to memorize 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, and I think there's one more. I haven't seen it as much on the test, but I think it's like 7, 24, 25. These are what we call Pythagorean triples. And if you know Pythagorean triples, all you have to do is say that this is the cosine of E, and these are similar triangles. It means that the cosine of E is the same as the cosine of B. Okay, so that's just a rules-based question. They're similar triangles, so cosine of B is equal to the cosine of E because they are similar triangles, right? And these are all going to be proportional based on that similarity. Okay, so we get, what's cosine? Adjacent over hypotenuse? Yes, we get adjacent, which is 12 over 13. The answer is B. That is another rules-based question, rules-based. I can't stress enough, rules-based question. I can't stress enough, guys, that if you follow along with these rules-based questions, it's just so easy to get all of these questions right because you're only looking at questions that you 100% know how to do, and then you can spend all the time in the world going back to those word problems. We can even sit here and take a break. We have 14 and a half minutes left, and we've already answered, what, like 10, maybe 8 to 10 questions, right? we can always go back, and we still have numbers 1 and 2, I think, left to do because we skipped those. Rules-based questions make these this test so much easier, and all you have to do is go memorize the rules outside of the test. Okay, question number 13 says, in xy plane, the graph of the function has 2x intercepts. What is the distance between the 2x intercepts? Guys, again, rules-based. This whole SAT no calculator section is probably my favorite single section of any section on the SAT or the ACT because it is truly testing you on whether or not you know your Algebra 2 and pre-calc rules. Okay, it has 2x intercepts, meaning that those x-intercepts are just the zeros of the function. So remember that if you have an x-intercept, it means x-intercept is just when y is equal to 0, right? So we just say 0 is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 4. We factor that out. We get x plus 4 times x plus 1. And now we get x is equal to negative 4 and negative 1. What do they ask us to do here? The distance between the two is 3, right? The distance between negative 4 and negative 1 is 3. And that question is so easy, even at number 13, that question is so easy if we just know what x-intercepts are referring to. That the first thought in our mind after we see x-intercepts is that y has to be equal to 0. If we just reflect on that a bit, then if you reflect and you review, you can get that question right every time. There hasn't been a single question yet that we've done that has that is leveled above Algebra 2. And these are all very basic Algebra 2 concepts. It's not like they're asking you, the equation of a circle should be thought of as a basic Algebra 2 concept. Right? And all your job is to do is to go memorize the equation of the circle. I can definitively tell you that if you look through all of these tests, the equation of a circle is very important. Understanding x and y intercepts, understanding y equals mx plus b, very basic algebra and Algebra 2 techniques. If you just review those, you can get all of these questions right. This is all rules-based. Anytime I see a question that has 1 and 2 like this, I know that question is going to take more thought than I want to give it, so I'm going to skip that one for right now. Let's see if we can go back up here. Guys, no solution. I cannot stress how often this question comes up. This is not just on this test. It's on every. It feels like it's on every SAT. No solution. If you see no solution with right, no solution with systems of equations like this. Systems of equations. Okay, it just means that these two guys right here. Right? These two guys are lined up, so this should be exactly the same, and the constant is different. The constant is different because the y-intercept is different. This means no solution means parallel lines. Okay, meaning that the constant is different. That's how you spell parallel lines. Okay, so we get negative 3. You're multiplying, so it's got to be, right? It's got to be negative 6 because y times 2 is 2y. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, so we get negative 6x. And then the rest of the equation doesn't matter. I think that's right. I hope. That makes sense to me. Okay, so we've skipped 14. I think A for 15. One of the other things, too, guys, is if you're struggling with questions, don't forget that if you skip to question number 16 when they start those free response questions, number 16, we have about 11 minutes left here. Number 16, by default, is going to be easier than questions 11 through 15. It starts over in terms of difficulty. So question number 16 should be pretty straightforward. Now, number 16 doesn't look that straightforward, so for right now, I'm going to skip it because 17 does, and I like absolute value questions. Okay, so if you know you have absolute value, what are the solutions? A and B are the solutions to the equation above. What is the value of A minus B? Absolute value, guys, is just 2x plus 1, right? One positive solution equals 5. And then we have one negative solution, 2x plus 1 is equal to 5. Okay, now we're just solving for both. 2x plus 1 equals 5. Okay, so then we get 2x is equal to 4. So x is equal to 2. Okay, and then on this one we get negative 2x minus 1 is equal to 5. So negative 2x is equal to 6. So x is equal to negative 3. If they ask us the absolute value, guys, it doesn't matter which one is A and which one is B because you're going to find that they give you the same answer. But if, let's say, 2 minus negative 3, right? 2 minus negative 3 is just equal to 5, so that's going to be our answer, I think. If we go the other way, negative 3 minus 2 is equal to negative 5, but we have the absolute value around it. And so we know that the answer is just 5 again. Okay? So the absolute value of those should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so that's 17. We have about 9.5 minutes left. 18 looks like it stinks. I'm not going to do that one. 19. If you're good at systems of equations, guys, this is a good one to do. But I'm not, that doesn't look great to me right now. 20. This goes back to what we talked about. So this is a rules-based question. Rules-based. I love 20. This is a great question to go over. Okay, rules-based question. If you recognize 20, this is a very simple question. U minus t times u squared minus t squared. If you're really, really strong, what is the value of this? If you're really strong with difference of two squares, you'll know, like we did before, this is just u minus t times u minus t times u plus t. And look at that, guys. Just like the SAT loves to do, they lead you to the right answer. So then we just get 2, okay, times 2 times 5. What's that? 2 times 2 is 4 times 5 is 20. I should probably know that. If you guys can see that. So it's 2 times 2, right? Because u plus t. So it's just 2 times 2 times 5 is equal to 20. Okay, we got about 8 minutes left. Let's go back to the beginning. Now, if you guys do all this, okay, Alex, thank you. Thanks for joining in. I'll add down. I just want to show everybody, guys. Alex is one of our teachers as well, so he's checking in with this. I want to show you guys that if you answer all the easiest questions first, and you guys get comfortable with that, right? You do some warm-up problems almost with questions that you know how to do. When you come back up to number 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, the chances you miss these easy questions are very, very slim. So it says a television with a price. So again, I want you guys to focus your preparation. I want you to focus on answering the easy questions first. Okay, it says a television with a price of $300 is to be purchased with an initial payment of $60 and weekly payments of $30, meaning that the fixed price is $60, right? $300 can be used to find the number of weekly payments required to complete the purchase. So we know that $300, right? We're going to have to figure out what W is equal to. $300, okay, is equal to 30W plus 60. Because the initial payment then will, right, the initial payment will reduce this to find it. So 240 then is equal to 30W. W is equal to 8. So it's going to take 8 weeks, but I think we know that that's how you solve for it, right? Because if you were doing this 60, right, the initial payment of 60, if you added that back onto the 300, that would mean you're now paying $360 for the TV, and that's not what we want. Okay, let's see if this next one looks, how this next one looks. This is a very common question on the SAT where they give you something like 0.99x. What I want you guys to realize is that if you just do this, f of x is equal to 1x, or in this case is equal to 1x plus 12, right? And then you change all of these, you'll see that this is 5, and this is 1694, which is really close to 17. This is 21.89, which is close to 22. If one of those lines up and you round it up a little bit on each of those equations and the answer choices, if you round up, you're going to be in great shape, right? Because you'll understand it right away. So 5 times 1, right? 5 times 1 is not equal to 1694, so we know that one's off. 5, right? 5x, because this is our x. This is our x. And this is our b. Right? 5 times 1 plus 12 is about 17. 10 times 1 plus 12 is about 20 times 1. Yeah, so it's got to be b, right? Otherwise, we're going to get too big a number. So the answer's got to be b there for number 3. Right? And again, it's just, if the numbers are that close, if it's 0.99x, that's just call it 1. They're trying to throw you off on those types of questions because you don't have a calculator and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do 0.99? If I would have done that question number 3 overall, and remember, the clock is still going, we have about 5.5 minutes left. If I'm doing that 3 overall and I've already done 52 hard reading questions, the reading test is pretty hard. If I've already done 52 hard reading questions, and then I have to do 44 grammar questions, and I get to question number 3, and that's the first one out of the gate, and then I don't think about 0.99 is just might as well just be 1. That question is ridiculous, right? We don't want to make a ridiculous question that early on in the test. So skip that one and find rules-based questions like we've done already for 15 out of the 20 questions. Okay, so now number 4 says the line above represents h of x in feet. Doric columns in ancient Greek architecture. How much greater is the height of the column that has a base of 5, diameter of 5, and a height column that has a base diameter of 2. Okay, so it looks like this is the height, right? This is h of t, and this is our h of x, right? This is h of x, and this is just x. So at 2, we're at a 14-foot diameter, and at 5, or height, and at 5, we're at 35. So 35 minus 21 is, or 35 minus 14 is just 21. Okay, I think that's right. Hopefully C is the right answer for that. We did all those. We did all of those. We did all that. That's great, guys. We have about 4 minutes left. Let's see how we do here. 4x is equal to x minus 3. What are all the values that satisfy the equation given? Okay, so if we get the square root of 4x minus 4, the square root of 4x is equal to x minus 3. So guys, this is a great question. Alex brought it up before in a class that we had yesterday. Alex, again, is one of our teachers, for those that saw the comment. 4x, oops, okay, if you just plug in these numbers, because they're asking what are the values of x, well, they're saying 1 or 9, or 1 and 9 the values of x. Plug those into the equation. The reason I wanted to do this one second, it's a theoretical question, right? This is what I call a theoretical question. And the reason it's theoretical is because this is not plugging in numbers is not the proper way to solve for these questions. Having said that, it's oftentimes the best way to solve for them. So if I plug in 1, 4, right, the square root of 4 is 2, is equal to 1 minus 3, which is equal to negative 2. That doesn't work. Let's see if 9 works. Okay, if I get the square root of 36 is equal to 9 minus 3, that does work. So I think the answer has to be 2 only. And for whatever reason, Alex, maybe you have a better, if you're still watching, Alex, you might have a better understanding of this, but the SAT doesn't give you negative. So like, I know that the square root of 4 can technically be plus or minus 2, and you probably heard that enough from your teachers back in the day, like plus or minus 2, right? You heard that all the time. I don't know why exactly the SAT has decided not to include negative 2 as a potential square root number. Alex, again, maybe you have a better understanding of that, but they don't. And so that should clue you in that 9 was the only right answer there. I got to keep moving. We have about 2.5 minutes left. So manufacturers ship units of certain product. The equation above shows the total in dollars for shipping C units, the closer location. F units, if the total shipping cost was $47,000. T is the total shipping cost, so $47,000 is equal to, and 3,000 units were shipped to the farther location. How many units were shipped to the closer location? Okay, so farther would be 5. C, right? We don't know that one yet. And that would be plus 12 F. Okay, plus 36,000 then, right? Because that'd be times the 3,000 to the farther location. So we get 11,000. Is that right? Farther. 12 times 3, we shipped to the farther location. Yeah, is equal to 5C. So if you do 11,000 divided by 5, we get 2,200, I think. 2,200 is the answer there, I think. 7,000 divided by 10 is 110, is 1,100. Yeah, so 5 is 2,200. That should be right. 18, Juan purchased an antique that had a value of $200. At the time each year, the value increased 10% over its value the previous year. The estimated value of the antique 2 years after purchase was 200 times 1.1 is equal to 220 times in dollars can be represented where A is the constant value of A times times 1.1 again is equal to 10%, 242. So A should be 1.42, I think. No, A should be 1.1, 1.21, 1.21 for 18. And then 19, let's see if I can find it. Add them down, we get 2x. Oh, Alex helped me with this, so you guys, I cheated a little bit here on this one. I think we got all the other ones right, hopefully. Plus 5y is equal to 2,500, and that's what they're looking for, right? 5x plus 5y, so I think the answer here is 2,500. All right, that was our timer. I don't know if anybody's having the answers following along. If you guys have the answers following along here. But yeah, 2,500 I think is the right answer. Whoops. Let's see. Does anybody have the answers? Anybody have the answers? I would rather not look them up. But let's see. I think I got them all right. Did anybody? Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know if I got them all right. I was talking and yapping to you guys. The point of all of this, guys, is you guys are going through. This is SAT test number 10, no calc. I said I wasn't. It's when you get a little competitive. So that's another thing that I want you guys to be thinking about. I've said this a lot in classes that I was such a lazy student. I lucked out because my mom's a long-time math teacher and tutor, and so I was. This was all ingrained early on for me, and I happen to be a big reader too. So a lot of this stuff was where I didn't have to work very hard to learn higher levels of math. This is all basic levels of math, and I had it ingrained in me at a young age. Yeah, and so again, if you guys are looking at this stuff, the laziness factor helped me because if I saw a question that I didn't want to do at any point when I was a kid, and that was just both in school, that's not a good way to go about life. But in school, I would just not do practice. I would just not do the problem. And so, that helps you on a test like this because all I would look for was the easiest questions. I would try to find the easiest problems. And again, hopefully what you guys saw on a test like this is that if you guys are looking for all of the easiest questions, you get 14 or 15 right in a row where you don't have to think about them at all. And if you do that, it's super, super helpful because then you don't have to be overwhelmed by any questions until you get to the end knowing you already got 15 questions right. So again, this is more than anything, I just want these videos to keep you guys on track, to make sure that you guys are continuing to prepare. We'll schedule these videos, and you guys will know what's coming in terms of the tests. So you'll know what tests are coming up or what we'll be doing in that lesson. So my recommendation in terms of your preparation is to do the test yourself before we do it during the lesson. It'll keep it, more than anything, we want to keep you guys on track because there's so much extra time going on right now. And yeah, guys, hopefully all of that made sense. Look for the rules-based questions. Look for the easy questions. When we talk about those rules-based questions, that means that you're looking for questions that will be step-by-step. And yes, if you make a simple mistake, it's a simple mistake and you miss the question. But our hope is that you're not going to do that because you're going to be competitive to try to get the questions right. And then if you don't know a rules-based question, if anything you saw on this list you didn't know how to do, it's your job to go back and learn it. And so one of the things that we've continued to promote on these videos is if you want to do any of these practice problems, again, if you download the StarU app, okay, so if you guys download StarU, you guys can do all of these practice problems, right? You come into StarU, you click SAT on the home screen, and then you click SAT Math. Let's say you guys want to do some systems of equations to practice. Click Systems of Equations. It'll load, right? And you guys click Practice Questions. And now a lot of those questions that we just did, including the one about no solutions, I think that shows up within these, right? You guys can be doing practice problems as you go based on the rules-based questions that you're looking at now. So I highly encourage you guys to look at the StarU app. It's how I practice. It's written all by Alex and I write the book. We edit the book. And it's written by all current SAT and ACT tutors. And our goal is not necessarily to override any other materials that you guys are using. It's to show you very specific types of problems that you're missing so that if you guys are looking at rules-based questions, you can go back and do 5 systems of equations questions and don't have to take another full practice test to learn how to do those problems. So I encourage you guys to download the app, become a student, create a student account on the app, and you guys will knock out these rules-based questions. And as you just saw in that video, 15 or so of the 20 questions were rules-based that you guys can just learn in between each test, and you'll knock it out the next time you see it. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I hope everybody got a lot out of it. If you guys have any questions for any of us, I've posted our emails in the descriptions. If you guys want to just comment on the video, you guys can absolutely do that as well. But hopefully you guys are getting a lot out of this. And yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions this week. Good luck preparing, and hopefully you guys don't go crazy during this quarantine. I hope you guys stay healthy, and we'll be doing videos for the rest of the week, including one on Friday. So great job, guys. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in our next video.